This is an incoming transmission from the Jersey Shore.
This is Financial Insanity with Scott McLean, powered by McLean Advisory Group. Today you'll hear some of the most important financial information and wealth-building techniques available anywhere.
Let's get this party started, huh?
Do you have a question for Scott and the team?
Am I on the air?
609-488-4646. That's 609-488-4646.
We'll get that information to them by radio.
Now, Financial Insanity with Scott McLean.
Do you feel nervous when the markets drop? Are you worried you might be missing out when they're climbing? Well, today on Financial Insanity, Scott's going to be talking about how to protect your savings and even find ways to make the most out of a shaky market. I'm your host of Financial Insanity, and I am here with Scott McLean, McLean Advisory Group, here in Waretown, New Jersey. And Scott, first off, happy spring, my man.
Oh, man, it's my favorite time of the year when it starts to get warmer. I love the heat. Although there's many people listening right now and they don't like the heat, I love it. Obviously, that's why I go down south. I just got back from Florida, Alex, on a beautiful time down there and hanging out with the big competitions. With the United States won the competition, the world competition in the World Equestrian Center. And unfortunately, my daughter didn't ride in that one, but she wasn't good enough. Just the top guys. But it was a fun time, and it was warm.
No.
I like the warm.
No, I'm with you, my friend. You know, wintertime, it can be beautiful, but no, give me the warm weather. That is for sure. It's nice to be able to be outside. And, well, hot and cold, that can definitely be the market, Scott.
It is.
You know, my man, when we see these days and weeks of volatility in the markets, what's your message to folks? I mean, what should retirees do in times like this?
Well, you know what? Trump's doing a lot of stuff that's making it volatile. People are both sides are not sure what's going on, and there's the talk of the town. I'd like to start with a fancy word I've used several times called beta. You see, beta in your portfolio, when your financial advisor looks at your portfolio, beta tells us how volatile an investment is compared to the market. So if the market moves up and down like a roller coaster, which has been doing, beta tells if you're on the kiddie ride or hanging upside down in front of the car at the Nitro at Six Flags. So the question is, if you haven't looked at your portfolio and your advisor hasn't gone over the risk factors, I encourage you to write this down. It's a critical number, 609-488-4646, to say, Scott, I'd like to talk to you about the volatility of my portfolio, and we'll be able to talk about that to see if you like riding upside down, or maybe you like the market swinging up and down like the roller coaster, or maybe you just want to sit in the lawn chair and you're on the Titanic and you think, well, let's just wait a little bit and see if the ship really sinks or not. I call it a spoiler alert. Be careful, because if you don't know what your financial team is doing, they haven't given you a heads up, this could cause you to go to the doctors and get some Prozac. And I don't think that's a good solution at all. Take action.
Yeah, absolutely. And Scott, I know one thing that you do for folks, especially those nearing retirement or in retirement, is really looking at their portfolio and trying to figure out, all right, where's their risk level? Does it match their tolerance? And how do you help somebody figure that out if they're taking on too much risk or maybe even not enough?
Well, first of all, we look at the portfolios and we talk to them. But before we even look at the portfolios, when people visit us for the first time, they're trying to think, oh, he's going to sell me. He's going to take advantage. Or they met me or George. Oh, they're just going to take advantage of us. Well, time out. First of all, we've got to get your profile, your risk. I don't know if you like hot sauce on your eggs or you don't want any sauce on it. Again, some people like a little kick. And others, well, they take one bite and their eyebrows catch on fire. So the question is, what is your definition of risk? That's number one. Then after looking at that, we want to do an analysis. We want to take a risk analysis. We want to take a look at basically the holdings you have, look in the mirror and say, hey, buddy, are you acting your age? You're acting like you're maybe 20 years old, but maybe right now you're 70, or maybe you're 65, or maybe you can't handle it. Or maybe the husband or the wife or the spouse or the boyfriend, girlfriend, they can handle risk, but you can't. This is where the financial advice needs to go into the psychological world and find out, how do we keep this marriage from blowing up? Meaning, not trying to keep as a marriage counselor, but you know what? husband might want the risk, the wife doesn't, or the partner wants the risk and the other partner doesn't. The question is, how much risk is too much risk? And this is what we go over, Alex, finding out if the market dropped 20%, your portfolio, let's say your portfolio of $500,000, it dropped by 10%. Are you okay if it dropped $50,000? I would ask. And then maybe I would use a 20% number. Are you okay if the portfolio dropped 20%? And so the question really would be, you know what, Scott? Maybe I don't want to go back to Walmart and start over at 72 greeting people at Walmart. I want to stay in my lawn chair and enjoy the weather, enjoy the beautiful sunshine. Is my portfolio keeping up with inflation? This is a lot of questions. And what happens, Alex, I've noticed with so many people, these questions are, do you have a seatbelt in this roller coaster? Do you not? Is the marriage rocky? I can't believe it lost $100,000 and the market dropped 20%. Well, can you handle it or not? And again, this is where, it causes internal strife in families. And so I like to get that ahead of time before we even work with the client.
Yep.
Because if I don't know the client, Alex, maybe this isn't a good fit, or maybe they don't want to share that with me, then frankly, it's not a good fit for our firm. We want to know your personality. So if it comes back and you want a lot of risk, we can go back to our notes and saying, well, you said this, we recommended this. I think you want to calm down.
Yeah. Well, and Scott, are people surprised by that being the approach when they come in? Is that it really is, hey, before we really get to dollars and cents, like I need to learn about you. I need to learn what makes you tick. And if you have a partner, what makes them tick? How do you guys, relate to each other, work with each other from a financial perspective? What kind of goals and dreams do you have? I mean, are people kind of surprised that that is the approach coming in? It's, hey, I don't want to see the checkbook. It really is, let's have a conversation here so I can get to know you better.
Yeah, the journey that we're all on as we head into retirement is different for people.
All right.
One couple could be on a journey. They want to go fly around and go, they're in the go-go years. And then we have other people that want to have not that journey, they just want to have the steady dividends. I just met with somebody a few minutes ago, and I know you're waiting outside your office, knocking on my door. Hurry up, Scott. But we were talking about that. And some people like the chicken investment. I call it the chicken and the egg. The egg produces dividends or interest. And so if we look at the chicken and the egg, the question is now, which was a tax delivery, well, wow, they're paying way too much in taxes. Maybe they don't have enough dividend tools. They have too much interest tools. Now, when you're getting a check on a standard basis, whether it's on a monthly basis or on a quarterly basis, that would be dividend investing for income, not investing for growth. But if you're too heavily in growth and all your chickens are, you don't have any chickens, the question is the market could take a drop and you're not even getting a hug and a kiss for all that risk. This is where I talk about spending time before we even advise anybody or even look at it. We want to look at the portfolio. First, psychological. How do you feel about risk? What's going on? And then we're going to look at the portfolio, what they're in, not to try to twist them to become a client, but to tell them exactly what they're asking. Do we have too much risk? Is our beta, as we spoke about earlier, too high? Or should we reduce that? And this is where I call it the come to Jesus moment. Are you a good fit for us? Are you being too risky? Are you trading too much? What are you doing in your portfolio? This builds, to me, which is so important, a relationship that I want with people to understand. I know what's going on. Will your money pass to the kids? Do we have enough money passing to the kids? How will that be taxed? Should we maybe look at other types of tools to give them a better portfolio with no risk, but have a tremendous tax-free income upon death as well? So we look at everything. You see, not understanding risk could cause you a detrimental problem. And that's what we need to understand if you're becoming a family member of our firm.
Yeah, no, absolutely, Scott. And, right now, it seems like it'd be a good time for somebody to come in and review their plan. And I mean, it's always a good idea to review your plan. But right now, with just kind of the uncertainties and what we've seen with volatility in the markets, do you agree right now would be a good time for somebody to come review their plan with you?
But the reason people do, Alex, And I've said this, and you even mentioned it earlier. Hide your checkbook, hide your wallet. We're going to talk about your dreams, your dollars, and your dynasty. That's not happened very much in my field. They look at, what are you going to give me and how can I help you? Okay, great. I want to know more about them. Our firm wants to know, because if this is a good fit, I need to know about you. Our firm needs to know about you. We share our notes with our firm because our clients are so involved with us, which I call our family members. I want to make sure what's in it for you. Alex, we're on our 44th year. Our anniversary is March 8th, and we've not changed in the sense of we got to get to know you, the people that want to visit us. That's why it's so important. If you give our studios a call, 609-488-4646. By the way, that's our website. Just put .com, 609-488-4646. Let's have that conversation. Let's talk about your journey. Whether you're in retirement now and you're ready to plan, beautiful. I might say, let's plan. And do we take Social Security? Do we not take Social Security? What pension plan do we take? What pension options should we take and not take? What's the pros and the cons? Let me take a look at your will, power of attorney, living will. Let me see if that's buttoned up exactly how you want. If God takes you home early, or maybe you start to drool and you need someone to help you out because your lights are going dim. How do we protect those assets from being confiscated by the nursing home or someone else? So this is really a great conversation, whether you're in retirement or, again, you're heading into retirement. This conversation, everyone, when they leave the office, I can tell you this, I've heard this so many times. My front desk, my person up front says, Scott, they were so thrilled they came in because they learned so much. They gathered so much information they never got from their other advisor in just a short time. That's what we're telling you out there. If you come visit with us, 609-488-4646, the time you spend with us, whether you're totally satisfied or not with your financial advisor, we're not going to twist you at all. We're going to give you the bottom line. We get right into it to get to know each other. So again, your dreams, your dollars, and your dynasty all match. If it doesn't fit, we got to acquit. I think you've heard that before.
Absolutely. As that number again is 609-488-4646, and just add a .com for Scott McLean and his team, McLean Advisory Group. And you heard from him 44 years, Scott. And congratulations. In no way is that derogatory to date you like that. That is tremendous.
Well, Alex, I got plenty more juice in me. God, I love this business. I don't know. I don't have my best friend makes fun of me because I don't really have a lot of hobbies other than this or taking care of the farm. And I just love helping people. And I don't know. I don't see myself at all retiring unless God calls me home or my lights go dim. And right now, I hope he doesn't do either.
Right. Well, and we appreciate you having you here, helping the people in the Waretown community and beyond. But also, I like doing this show with you too, Scott. It's a good time, and I learn a lot. And we're going to learn a lot more as coming up. We're going to be talking about the top 5 retirement missteps you're going to want to avoid. And then later on, it's our yay or nay segment. We're going to be talking about yay or nay working in retirement. So some thoughts on that. Scott's going to give that insight here in just a little bit. This is Financial Insanity.
Who likes uncertainty? Wall Street certainly does not. With near record inflation and partisan politics, there's a lot of uncertainty right now. What will America's future look like? What will your future look like? Will your taxes go up? Will your savings go down? For more than 40 years here in the Jersey Shore area, Scott McLean and the team at McLean Advisory Group have seen uncertainty come and go. No matter what the future holds, Scott can help you create a plan designed to preserve your finances in uncertain times. And it's not a matter of if those uncertain times will show up, but when. Call 609-488-4646 now to meet with Scott McLean and the team at McLean Advisory Group. If uncertainty is causing you to feel insecure, Scott McLean might be able to help. Call 609-488-4646 and schedule your visit today. Again, that's 609-488-4646.
Investment advisory services are offered through Sound Income Strategies, LLC. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal.
What if you ordered a pizza, but when you opened the box, a couple pieces were missing? That would be upsetting, right? Now think about how much you believe you have saved for retirement. Do you still owe taxes on that money? If you do, that can take a big bite out of your nest egg. Financial advisor Scott McLean and his team at McLean Advisory Group understand the importance of tax planning and can help you reduce the impact that Uncle Sam has on your retirement. Give them a call today to start working on your retirement tax plan. 609-488-4646. Create a plan today so that you can get as many slices of your retirement pie as possible. Call Scott McLean at 609-488-4646 today and schedule your retirement tax analysis. That's 609-488-4646. Investment advisory services offered through Sound Income Strategies, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisory firm. McLean Tax Advisory Group and Sound Income Strategies, LLC, are not associated entities. Firm may not give tax advice.
And when you pay down debt, you don't pay down the highest interest rate. The biggest mistake is you pay the highest interest rate card when you should do the snowball effect of paying down debt.
This is Financial Insanity with Scott McLean, presented by McLean Advisory Group.
When planning for retirement, are you confident you're not making any mistakes? Would you like to know more now so you don't have a painful lesson in the future? Of course, right? Well, good thing you're joining us today on Financial Insanity, because throughout the years, Scott McLean and his great team at McLean Advisory Group has identified 5 common mistakes people often make before they enter retirement. And so you're going to want to listen today. And the first one, Scott, first common mistake is, well, pretty simple. You don't have a fully mapped out retirement strategy.
Nothing. So many times, and we have a unique process. If anybody would like to get it from us, please feel free to ask for Bonnie at 609-488-4646. I have a unique email I can send you as you try to map out your strategies. And I actually have it really laid out as you put your budget together. This is not a do-it-over plan. This is not let's test it out plan. I mean, if you made a couple critical mistakes, it could really affect the quality of retirement. So again, as you map out the retirement, what does it look like, feel like? How much we saving, how much we spending? And this is number one, problem number one. If you're forced into retirement, that's okay. I understand. As we talked about in an earlier segment, we spoke about, Alex, about long-term care.
Yeah.
If you're forced into it because you're taking care of your grandson, or maybe your wife has to, or your husband has to take off work to take care of their beautiful spouse. Sometimes we're forced in these situations. Okay, what does that look like? Seek help, and let's do a map out a plan, because this is not a do-it-yourself gimmick. You go to the place where people have gone through this challenge before and seek help, because it's not only where does the money come from, it's how much tax am I going to have to pay? It's will I run out of money before I run out of life?
Yep. You got to look at everything, and that's what we mean by a fully mapped out retirement strategy. And it's hard to look at everything if you don't know everywhere to look, and that's where somebody like Scott McLean can really help out at McLean Advisory Group. All right. Second common mistake people make before retiring is, well, you're living beyond your means, contributing little or nothing to the savings you'll need after your paychecks stop. You don't want to do that.
No, and if you're out there and you're about to retire or plan on retiring, maybe your favorite sport is, let's say, bowling. Maybe you get a job at a bowling alley and have a little extra income coming in. After you do, plan one, figure out what your budget is. Number two, are you spending too much? When the grandbabies start to pop out of the oven and you start visiting them, maybe go to the thrift store versus the Lehman Marcus store. Maybe
Right.
you get a little bit more frugal, because again, burning your cash could be tremendously burden to your retirement. And then of course it could affect you if you have a good long life. Maybe you don't want to have cat food when you're 80 years old. So be very, very cautious and be diligent on how much you're spending, because you can spend beyond your means. Plus, you got kids knocking on the door. Dad, Mom, can I get some money? I can't pay my mortgage. Mom, Dad, I'm going through a divorce. Can you help me? I need some money. Mom, Dad, I'd surely like my son to have special football shoes. Can you help me? And I'm not saying any of those are bad, but the question is, when the door starts knocking, thinking about how your retirement could start knocking.
Yep. And it's that dirty B word. And no, not that one, but the other dirty B word, budget. And, it's that old adage, you got to pay yourself first. And this is that situation where you got to make sure that you're putting that money in for when those paychecks that you currently have stop. And like you said, you can have some part-time work, but you're not going to want to work just as much for retirement because that's not retirement. So how do you replace those paychecks? And that's the kind of thing Scott McLean, his team at McLean Advisory Group can help with. That number is always 609-488-4646. Going over some common mistakes people make before entering retirement, trying to help you get ahead of these things. The first one we talked about, not having a fully mapped out retirement strategy. And the second one is living beyond your means, not contributing enough to the savings you're going to need after those paychecks stop. So the third common mistake, Scott, is that, well, you're under the impression that you're going to be healthy forever. And therefore, you're ignoring the cost of health care in retirement. And you can hear from Scott that that's just not going to be the case. You're not going to be healthy forever. And there's, like we mentioned, long-term care before, just health care in general. These are things, again, you got to budget for.
You do. And if there's a lot of tools out there, but I can tell you, if you have an HSA, please jump on that. As long as it's not the use it or lose it plan, you need to find out about that. Great place to really pack away money, especially if those are heading into retirement. If you can really start plowing money away into an HSA. If not, start plowing your money, maybe if you can, into an IRA. If your spouse is not working, maybe plow your money into an IRA Roth as a spousal Roth plan if one of you are still working. So again, think about the money as you're having it in there, and if in case you need it, where do you pull it from, and how the tax implication will happen. Because the third mistake is, again, we're all going to stay healthy. And God, we know, I take tons of vitamins. I want to stay healthy. But as Alex knows, we all get hurt, get injured, things happen. And when they happen, you feel like a $6 million man, then you're being a 2-cent man because you kind of sit in your bed saying, I can't get out. I can't do this. I can't do what I used to do. Please pay attention. Look at the dollars.
Yep.
And again, watch out how much you spend. The part number 2 we just spoke about. Again, you're very important to pay attention to that, your health. And get it.
Yeah.
And you know what? Work out. Go to the gym. That's probably the best thing for most everybody listening right now. Get your butt to the gym, work out, do the treadmill, do something, at least 45 minutes a day, do some kind of cardio work.
Yeah, you could walk to go visit Scott McLean and his team at McLean Advisory Group if you would like, right here in Waretown. He'll help you with those.
Buy Dunkin' Donuts on the way.
Yeah, there you go. Why not? I'm sure Scott would take something for you.
Absolutely.
Not necessary, but he'll take it. Again, that number 609-488-4646, 609-488-4646. And we're going through these common mistakes people make before entering retirement. And really one of the big points is just, Scott, you've seen this stuff. I mean, you haven't seen it all. There's something new every day, but you've seen a lot. You've seen a lot of different situations and different things that have worked for different kinds of people and in different situations at different times and things that people have forgotten. And so these mistakes, you go through them in your head, you're thinking, yep, I can think of a couple times that somebody maybe was doing this. And so this is where having someone like you can step in and just take a realistic look at things. It's like, yeah, you think you're going to live forever, or you want to keep spending as much money as you want right now without thinking about the future. And Scott's somebody that can sit down and say, hey, let's just go ahead and go over this. Let's really be realistic about this, because at the end of the day, you're going to feel better about things if you know that things have been addressed and that you have a plan.
There's no doubt. You don't want to, again, like I say, you want to help the kids out, the family out, give money away. And the question is, you're not paying attention to maybe you're going to live a good long life, and will you have enough money versus not having enough money and too much life left over.
Yeah.
You got inflation, Alex. You got inflation coming up too. That's another person we can talk about.
That is absolutely true. And that's why it's almost kind of silly when I say you got to have a plan, because you do have to have a plan, but part of that plan has to be those things you can't plan for. You got to have those funds and those strategies for when stuff is going to hit the fan, or when something unheard of is going to happen.
I mean, these old folks listen to me right now. You're same age as me, probably out there for sure. Probably I'm a little older. But you think about rapid inflation we saw in the 82 to 90, where we saw interest rates just scream. It just went up. Now, we just saw it just screams past year and a half faster on a short-term period than we did in 82 to 90. And so we saw that scream so rapidly. So, and I just spoke to someone today, that's why their bond account dropped so rapidly. They thought, Scott, I thought bonds were safe. I said, did the advisor keep you in the bond account? They said, yes. I said, that's a shame because it's when you see rapid inflation, you don't want to be in these sort of tools that could really evaporate your money and bonds will go down even though you thought they were safe. Again, how do you fight for inflation? Are you putting enough away? And I think this is a big misnomer. Hey, by the way, mom and dad, are you out there? Grandpa, grandma. You know, I think about this because I'm a grandpa as well. You think about this. If you could teach your kids one simple rule. Alex, this is for you too, and all you young studettes down there or studs out there. 10% of your income. So if you're making $300 a week, $30. You're making $3,000 a week, $300. 10% of your income should be put away for your retirement. And so if you're doing that, but if your wife is working or spouse is working, again, 10% of their income, this is a very easy formula. I can tell you most people don't do it, or they do it and they end up putting their hand in the cookie jar and yanking it out later. If you could just drill this into the kids, 10% every time you get paid, I can tell you, you will be so far ahead. If you do what other people won't do, you'll have what other people won't have. I promise you, do it. 10%. Use that number.
And that number for Scott and his team, McLean Advisory Group, 609-488-4646, 609-488-4646, ada.com for the website. As we're going through 5 common mistakes people often make before they enter retirement, we have 2 more on the other side.
Stop for a moment and think about this. Do you know how much money in your 401k or IRA is actually yours? Or will the government take a bigger chunk than you thought? Remember, you still might owe taxes on that money, but do you have a plan to help make sure you don't pay more than you should? At McLean Advisory Group, we believe you deserve to keep more of what you've earned, which is why we're here to help you navigate the confusing world of retirement taxes. It's your money. You deserve to know what's at stake. Right now, taxes are historically low, but they won't be this low forever. So call the McLean Advisory Group team today so you don't miss out on this opportunity. 609-488-4646. That's 609-488-4646. You work hard for your money, and we'll work just as hard to help you keep it. McLean Advisory Group, 609-488-4646. Investment advisory services offered through Sound Income Strategies, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisory firm. McLean Tax Advisory Group and Sound Income Strategies are not associated entities.
What if you ordered a pizza, but when you opened the box, a couple pieces were missing? That would be upsetting, right? Now think about how much you believe you have saved for retirement. Do you still owe taxes on that money? If you do, that could take a big bite out of your nest egg. Financial advisor Scott McLean and his team at McLean Advisory Group understand the importance of tax planning and can help you reduce the impact that Uncle Sam has on your retirement. Give them a call today to start working on your retirement tax plan. 609-488-4646. Create a plan today so that you can get as many slices of your retirement pie as possible. Call Scott McLean at 609-488-4646 today and schedule your retirement tax analysis. That's 609-488-4646. Investment advisory services offered through Sound Income Strategies, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisory firm. McLean Tax Advisory Group and Sound Income Strategies, LLC, are not associated entities. Firm may not give tax advice.
I call it the chicken and the egg. The chicken is the investment. The egg is the dividend. And so when the chicken pops out the eggs, if you don't need the money, let's reinvest the eggs and buy more chickens.
Man, that's just an excellent analogy, Scott.
We made it back. This is Financial Insanity with Scott McLean, presented by McLean Advisory Group.
We are using Scott and his team's decades of experience to identify 5 common mistakes people often make before they hit retirement. Last segment, we went over not having a fully mapped out retirement strategy, living beyond your means, and ignoring healthcare costs in retirement. We'll go back through those real quickly again, but we want to get to the next two. And the fourth common mistake, Scott, is you aren't saving enough to account for inflation. You mentioned this briefly, but that's a big one.
So we spoke about the very basic rules for the younger people, and of course older people as well. Use the rule of the 10% rule. But if we know inflation's up to 6%, well, can you add? Is it possible? And I don't want to be dictating on the radio saying it's possible, because when inflation takes off, it's hard to save money. But if you can actually put in a little extra percentage away just to keep up with inflation, if the boss gives you a raise, can you say, great, let's go ahead and put that full raise into my savings account, my 401k, my 403b, my Roth IRA? Can I put that away? Or maybe some of you just into a liquid cash account. Where do we put that money? I was just looking at some accounts today, and I've just noticed today, speaking to you guys, there's some accounts out there paying 6.15% guaranteed for 5 years. I've never seen it this high. I'm not trying to sell you on you guys listening to me. I'm telling you, I was excited to see that, because I know people want safe money, no fees, no expense, $6,150 on every $100,000. In other words, that's almost like, what, $500 you could put in your pocket just for every single period you want. You just want to take some money out. $6,000 you could grow on that guaranteed bucket. So again, there's some safe places to put money out there. How do you take it out? Is it taxable or non-taxable? But again, you've got to put it away for inflation. And then you've got to really buckle down and just be a real savvy shopper and look at how you can buy, or can you put off things, or can you reduce your expenses if you're really, really, really hurting for cash, because this is so important. But it will end. Inflation will go, schools change. It's just, how are you getting through it now?
Yeah. Well, and you said something really smart too, and this goes for anybody, but something happens where, okay, a windfall, or you're going to consistently be getting more money now, and you just put that money away, and you keep living as you were living before under the same budget. And that extra money, that's the stuff that, okay, you are already saving for retirement and you had a savings. Well, in that savings now, it's accounting for inflation also because of the extra money you're able to put in. And so I just think that's really wise as well, giving people the green light to say, hey, you get that raise or you get that other stream of income coming in, and you just keep your budget the same and you put that extra money aside because you are going to need it in the future. It is going to happen.
Sneaks up on all of us for sure. Everyone. I don't care if, by the way, if you're thinking, well, that's easy to say if you're rich and wealthy. Let me tell you something. They scrimp and save money just like you. They're budgeting money. They're watching their dollars. When COVID hit, they didn't go out and buy fancy rings and Rolexes and stuff. They were watching their money. When the market took a drop, two different drops in 2000 to 2003, 50% drop, 2007 to 2009, almost a 60% drop. You tell me the wealthy wasn't concerned? Well, everyone was concerned. And if we have another stock market tremendous challenge, this is why people are calling us and meeting with us, because there could be something down the line, let alone with inflation, but let alone being sick and disabled, let alone the 5 common mistakes people have, spending too much money. But the question is, are you really paying attention to what's going on? If not, get an advisor who's really in the know.
And the number for Scott and his team at McLean Advisory Group, 609-488-4646, 609-488-4646. As Scott and his team have identified 5 common mistakes people often make before they enter retirement. The final common retirement planning mistake: you haven't planned for the possibility of long-term care. We're going back to something we mentioned earlier, but we want to put a bow on the thought because it is important. It can't be overlooked. And it's something we mentioned earlier, that those that are turning 65 right now, over half of them are going to need long-term care in the future.
You know, I haven't said this in the last show, and I apologize to our veterans and to our spouses of veterans during wartime. It doesn't mean your spouse was in, let's say, Vietnam, Afghanistan, They could be here stateside, but they qualify for benefits. And there's some very unique benefits if you're listening to me now, whether you're World War II, still around, Korea, Vietnam, and you think Gulf, and all these different wars that came out, the veterans have a very unique plan. If you have a question, you're a veteran out there, I can guide you in the areas of could there be some benefits for you or your spouse if you serve during these times. They call the aid and attendance pension benefit. And I can tell you people overlook that, especially financial planners don't really ask those questions, which we do because we want to help our vets and we want you to get the most out of it. The second thing we think about on top of that long-term care is, again, maybe you're guiding your mom and dad and maybe you're taking care of them. Maybe they moved into your house. How are you entering them on the tax returns? This is kind of off the color. We talk about benefits, but this could be a benefit. How are you taking care of them? Is there any deductions? How are you keeping records of taking care of your mom and dad? Maybe it's your husband, your wife, your children, your grandchildren. So you want to look at all the different areas, again, of where to get the money. How do I pull the money out if I need the money? Am I saving enough money in case something does happen? And then again, how does it look in the big picture? How do I protect my money? And so that would go into the legal aspects of trust planning. So as we look at the 3D plot process, our 3D planning process, the dreams, keeping your money together, the dollars, how they're going to last, and then the dynasty, how does it pass it on? How can we look at all three areas with these 3D glasses? So when we talk about it, this will help you when you put your head on the pillow, think, you know what? I think I'm buttoned up pretty good. Let's just double check. Let's meet with Scott.
Yep.
609-488-4646. Please, this is a time not to play as we head into a new year. This is a great time to plan. And again, 609-488-4646. No cost, no obligation. If you've got questions, I can tell you I'll get the answer. And if I don't have the answer, I will find the answer. I'm pretty good at this, but if I don't have an answer off the cuff, I will get the answer. I've known tons of people, and I can tell you that it's nothing worse than having a question unanswered.
Absolutely. And today we went over 5 common mistakes people often make before retirement. To recap, the first mistake, not having a fully mapped out retirement strategy. If you don't feel like you've addressed everything, now's the time to get with Scott. Or if you're just not even sure, then check in with the team at McLean Advisory Group. What about living beyond your means so you're not saving enough for when you get into retirement? This is a big one. If you need help budgeting, again, Scott and his team can help out. You also don't want to ignore health care costs in retirement. This is big, as we all think that we're bulletproof, or maybe we just don't quite understand what it's going to look like and how we're going to pay for health care in retirement. It's all part of that all-encompassing, comprehensive strategy. You got to look at that. Another mistake, not saving enough to account for inflation. We've definitely seen that one rear its ugly head, and it'll happen again in the future. Got to make sure you're setting some funds aside for that. And then the fifth common mistake, not planning for the possibility of long-term care. So we talked about healthcare costs, but you have that, and that's different than, well, you might have an extended stay or extended care treatment that is needed for you or a loved one, and you definitely got to look at that. But this is all something that has to do with stuff that you can look at to make sure that you're really looking at everything, that 3D approach that you talk about. That's why it's so important to come in and get guidance from somebody like Scott. That number again, 609-488-4646, 609-488-4646, add.com for the website. Well, good stuff, Scott. Real quick, how does a salad say grace?
Wow, how?
Let us pray. This is Financial Insanity with Scott McLean, McLean Advisory Group. Thanks for joining us.
Who likes uncertainty? Wall Street certainly does not. With near record inflation and partisan politics, there's a lot of uncertainty right now. What will America's future look like? What will your future look like? Will your taxes go up? Will your savings go down? For more than 40 years here in the Jersey Shore area, Scott McLean and the team at McLean Advisory Group have seen uncertainty come and go. No matter what the future holds, Scott can help you create a plan designed to preserve your finances in uncertain times. And it's not a matter of if those uncertain times will show up, but when. Call 609-488-4646 now to meet with Scott McLean and the team at McLean Advisory Group. If uncertainty is causing you to feel insecure, Scott McLean might be able to help. Call 609-488-4646 and schedule your visit today. Again, that's 609-488-4646.
Investment advisory services are offered through Sound Income Strategies, LLC. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal.
What if you ordered a pizza, but when you opened the box, a couple pieces were missing? That would be upsetting, right? Now think about how much you believe you have saved for retirement. Do you still owe taxes on that money? If you do, that could take a big bite out of your nest egg. Financial advisor Scott McLean and his team at McLean Advisory Group understand the importance of tax planning and can help you reduce the impact that Uncle Sam has on your retirement. Give them a call today to start working on your retirement tax plan. 609-488-4646. Create a plan today so that you can get as many slices of your retirement pie as possible. Call Scott McLean at 609-488-4646 today and schedule your retirement tax analysis. That's 609-488-4646. Investment advisory services offered through Sound Income Strategies, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisory firm. McLean Tax Advisory Group and Sound Income Strategies, LLC, are not associated entities. Firm may not give tax advice.
Frankly, you could have your grandkids tweet out to your friends or go on the Facebook or Instagram or whatever it is and say, I got great information from Scott.
And you left out TikTok there as you're rambling off the different social media being used by the kids today. You got to remember that TikTok.
Oh, that's right. Tickety-tock.
This is Financial Insanity with Scott McLean, powered by McLean Advisory Group.
Lots to think about when you're heading into retirement. One of those things is whether or not you should continue working. This is the retirement yay or nay segment. So a survey by Express Employment Professionals staffing agency indicating 79% of workers between 57 and 75, 79%, nearly 8 out of 10, say they would rather be semi-retired rather than fully retired. Scott, does that make sense? And what are some possible pros and cons to this kind of approach?
What a crazy statement. I remember I laughing because I'm thinking about mom and dad. And I remember when daddy retired and he calls me up. I'm in New Jersey. He's in Florida in Jacksonville. And he says, son, I got to get a job. I said, but daddy, you're retired. Son, I want you to understand I love your mother. I just can't be around here all day.
Hey, you got to be honest in relationships, And
I started laughing. I didn't understand. I was a lot younger than I am now. And, good thing mom and dad are in heaven hanging out waiting for me.
Okay.
Good news, they can wait. But that stays in my mind when you made that statement because, first of all, I don't know how people can turn the engines off. Me, I'm looking at expanding my firm, but other people are enjoying their retirement. God bless everyone. The question is, when you retire, the hard challenge is, should you keep working? Well, find something. If you love your job, then frankly, you're not working. That's me. I don't have to work. We're blessed enough. I love our clients. I love people. I will continue to work until God calls me home, as far as it looks right now. Luckily, he hasn't called me. The second thing is other people maybe want to try a different vocation. Maybe they go from being a nurse, a doctor, maybe they're a toll collector, maybe they're a sanitation engineer. Well, that's okay, but they want to do something else and they want to find something. So maybe they want to work. So I can't answer that question for anybody here, but dadgummit, my best friend in Jacksonville, Florida, Dale, always makes fun of me because I want to work 100 miles an hour. That guy could sit in his yard, sit around the campfire and have a couple adult beverages and enjoy life. Good old Southern boy. We grew up since age 6. And he always makes fun of me and teasingly because I'm 100 miles an hour. Difference of personalities. Dale likes to rake his yard. I like talking to clients. I can afford someone to rake my yard, but I love talking. So what is your vocation? Don't just leave to leave. There's got to be a compelling reason. Maybe you want to travel with your beautiful spouse or husband, wife, and maybe you want to take a trip. Maybe you want to take care of dogs and or cats, and maybe you want to get in that. Maybe you want to go out and maybe start a lawn service part-time because you love taking care. I don't know what it is, but I can tell you, you better have some type of game plan because you could be watching Price is Right and that crap gets older. I can tell you for sure. So let's say you're 65 years old. You want to go from company A and you have a 401k, and you want to go to company B and it has a 403b. Well, and you love your work. One mistake I found is you roll the money over to an IRA. Now, why would that be a mistake? Well, maybe you plan on working a long time. Maybe you should roll it over to the new company if they accept it, so you don't have to take the required minimum distributions at 72. Now, frankly, if you don't think you're going to be working until 72, then you roll it over to an IRA, and you've got a lot of universal products that you could buy or get involved in to protect your money. In these times right now, whether they're good times or bad times, you need to invest that money. So whether the question number one is, if you're going from job A to job B, should you roll over the money to a plan? Next thing is what choices they give you. This is really important. And in retirement, you know what? If you love what you do, find something else. Speak to your spouse or a significant other. If you're by yourself, maybe you want to go mountain climbing or water skiing like my sport, or just hang gliding like I did. I can tell you there's a lot of fun things, but you got to figure out what you're going to do, and what kind of fun is it going to be?
Maybe you need a first opinion. Maybe you need a second opinion about whether you should keep working, how much in retirement. Either way, Scott can be reached at 609-488-4646, 609-488-4646 at .com for the website. So earlier, we'll just call it 80% of workers between 57 and 75 said they'd rather be semi-retired rather than fully retired. So, Scott, I mean, is this just the end of retirement as we know it?
No. And I think the biggest thing is, and what we spoke about, Alex, is, I think forgot to bring up the health coverage. The insurance is before you leave work. You may just want to stay there and get the health coverage because maybe you're 63 years old.
Sure.
And Medicare is not kicking in until 65. And the health insurance could be as expensive as ever. So I forgot to bring that up as a downside of retiring. Maybe you get a part-time job that offers health benefits. This could be beneficial. And what if you have a wonderful spouse who has no health coverage? Or like my conversation, we were putting a trust together for a client, and they have a special needs son. He's on the insurance. Well, that's a whole nother world on the area of part-time or full-time, whatever. Now, other areas of part-time work, Alex, I'm not sure, but you think about taking Social Security too early. Should you take it or not too early? Should you keep working? And so I don't want to leave that out. I think I might have left it out a little bit before. I hate to. There's so many choices that could drive your money in the ground, and especially if the stock market is dropping, it could really cannibalize your assets and make you have to work.
Well, and Scott, people generally are healthier, generally living longer, and therefore could possibly have a longer retirement. Where in the past, 10, 20 years, maybe it's 20, 30 years. And so you have to account for that, Scott. And that's just a longer amount of time, obviously, to have a steady paycheck or something there to fill that gap. And so that's what makes this so interesting. You don't want to just retire, have nothing to do for a lot of reasons. Financial is definitely one of them, but also, like you hinted to earlier, a lot of it's just mental as well, and your physical health, and giving yourself some purpose and keeping that brain sharp.
That's so important. The purpose. Maybe the purpose is those of you right now that are in or near retirement. Maybe you're in retirement. You need to find a new hobby. You need to try a new sport or maybe a new venture. Maybe you need to try go out, you and your significant other or spouse, or meet new friends. be around people. Don't just cavitate yourself, lock yourself into your room. Just get out and enjoy what we've been so blessed with, this beautiful country. I mean, we could talk about the Democrats and Republicans and get all stuck in the muck and not enjoy life. This is disastrously depression. Leave the politics aside and just be a friend. Just love on people. We're allowed to have our own opinions. And when people aren't allowed to have their own opinions, get away from those people. If they don't respect you, then you don't need to be around each other. We all need respect. And especially times like this, coming out of the COVID area, coming out of the, being isolated. Oh my gosh, it is so many devastating things that are come down the line because of this. Get out and meet people, understand what you're doing. But again, as you said, be very careful with your money because we're living a lot longer. And by taking out too much money in the go-go years, are you going to have enough money in the slow-go years? Or are you going to run out of money? And we talked about that in several of our shows, Alex, called reverse dollar cost averaging, where you have to pull a lot more money out. You have to sell a lot more shares just to get the same income. So positioning your money to last a longer time so you have a income that will last the rest of your life. That's why people call us at our studios. Scott, how can I have that income that will last the rest of my life so I can put my head on my pillow and say, I can sleep well at night? 609-488-4646. I'll be able to talk to you if you'd like and maybe help you with some of those areas of concern. I'd love to talk to you. 609-488-4646 before you make the arduous decision. Where do you invest? Should you retire, not retire? And what are your options? There's a lot to discuss, Alex. Guys, I was thinking about this gentleman who went back to work to celebrate his 100th birthday. This one guy in Jersey, however, decided to do exactly the opposite. His name is Bill Hansen, and he celebrated his 100th birthday by returning back to his work, which he diligently for 32 years loved. And so Fred Hutchinson, the CEO of Hutchinson Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, well, he signed an agreement to go back to the work for one day. And he welcomed with a big birthday cake and a full day of assignments. He loved it. And he took off about 15 minutes after we signed the agreement. He said the agreement, he got to work, and the Hutchinson said he had to spend a lot of time where he could be at the company before he retired at age 97. And he didn't have much to say for retirement life. He said, quote, I hate being retired. I never had a job where I didn't want to go to work in the morning. Hansen said, and he attributes much of his happiness in life to his love of his work, his wife, and his family. You see, for retirement, it could be forever. But what is your forever? Is it working? Is it enjoying life? It's about what you have and the quality of your life. Quality of your life, psychologically we spoke about, emotionally, and financially. Can you do it? Make that decision. I'd love to talk to you. 609-488-4646. This is important.
This radio program may contain information which has gone regulatory or other significant changes since its original recording. The information and views expressed on today's show is educational in nature and is not intended to be a recommendation for any specific investment, product, strategy, plan, tax, or legal advice. Information presented is believed to be factual and up to date, but we do not guarantee its accuracy. Investment advisory services offered through Sound Income Strategies, LLC, a SEC-registered investment advisory firm. McLean Advisory Group and Sound Income Strategies, LLC, are not associated entities.
This radio show is a paid placement.
What if you ordered a pizza, but when you opened the box, a couple pieces were missing? That would be upsetting, right? Now think about how much you believe you have saved for retirement. Do you still owe taxes on that money? If you do, that can take a big bite out of your nest egg. Financial advisor Scott McLean and his team at McLean Advisory Group understand the importance of tax planning and can help you reduce the impact that Uncle Sam has on your retirement. Give them a call today to start working on your retirement tax plan. 609-488-4646. Create a plan today so that you can get as many slices of your retirement pie as possible. Call Scott McLean at 609-488-4646 today and schedule your retirement tax analysis. That's 609-488-4646. Investment advisory services offered through Sound Income Strategies, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisory firm. McLean Tax Advisory Group and Sound Income Strategies, LLC, are not associated entities. Firm may not give tax advice.
Who likes uncertainty? Wall Street certainly does not. With near record inflation and partisan politics, there's a lot of uncertainty right now. What will America's future look like? What will your future look like? Will your taxes go up? Will your savings go down? For more than 40 years here in the Jersey Shore area, Scott McLean and the team at McLean Advisory Group have seen uncertainty come and go. No matter what the future holds, Scott can help you create a plan designed to preserve your finances in uncertain times. And it's not a matter of if those uncertain times will show up, but when. Call 609-488-4646 now to meet with Scott McLean and the team at McLean Advisory Group. If uncertainty is causing you to feel insecure, Scott McLean might be able to help. Call 609-488-4646 and schedule your visit today. Again, that's 609-488-4646.
Investment advisory services are offered through Sound Income Strategies, LLC. Investing involves risk, including the potential